the challenges are, I'll try and list them in order.
Yeah.
If you're an AWS customer and you choose the Amazon Security Lake, that's the one I know the best, right? So I can talk those in order. You need to have the right, well-architected Amazon infrastructure to get the data into the lake in the right way to start with, right? If you haven't got organizations set up and you haven't got your CloudTrail set up in the right way, it can either become expensive or messy. The second thing is, and actually that part, genuinely, I will hand on heart say that part is easy peasy, right? Getting your AWS log sources into the Amazon Security Lake is a radio button exercise if you have your organization set up correctly and you've got your Amazon infrastructure in a way that is going to support that. The part that's complicated is the fact that no one only has AWS log sources.
That's right. That's right.
That's where we get to the complication. So what, in the case of AWS, and again, I don't want to be on an AWS soapbox because that's not what this is about. This is just an experience basis. They have what they call source providers, and then they have subscribers to that data set. Everyone who is a source provider, and honestly, it's like it's a who's who list of all the security vendors that most people use. They have all created an OCSF conversion capability to put the data into the lake. The problem you have is that OCSF has had 3 or 4 different standards this year already, and the input changes all the time as well. So this comes back to the biggest challenge for anybody adopting a security lake solution is how do you get data in, right? And there's 2 parts to getting data in. There's the pipelining of it and the ingesting of it into the lake. But the second part, which actually also, by the way, I'm quite certain there's been a massive update in the OCSF forum recently with a number of these conversions. Because the second part is how do you convert that data? How do you translate that data into OCSF format? Because if you don't land it in OCSF format into the lake, you're just going to get an error, right? You can still send it there, but it will not work. The glue, the crawler, it will not do its thing. So that is the challenge, number one, right? And that is not a small challenge for anybody.
Let me also piggyback on that as well. I have tried, like, I'm not going to rat out the technology, but a very well-known technology that is out there talks about how they're one of the very first adopters of Security Lake. I'm a Security Lake user at Query, and they have got this awesome GitHub that they talk about having this great, fantastic tool that they use to move data into Security Lake that absolutely does not work whatsoever. And so, it's very much like you said. There's getting the data out of those technologies and into the lake is a massive challenge for organizations these days.
It is. So that's something that I think is going to get easier with time, right? And I think that's going to get easier with time because it's breaking new ground, right? There's no one has created that repository of fantastic conversions yet. Although actually, I think the community is starting to drive in that direction. So that's the first thing. I think the next thing that is the challenge is how you're actually going to query the lake, right? And what is your strategy for that? Now, that falls into Query's wheelhouse very, very firmly, but also you have Athena. You can write a number of different ways to query data in the lake, but the Amazon Security Lake or none of these data lakes are a SIEM. They're not a replacement for your SIEM. They haven't got pre-built use cases. They're not doing active threat detection for you. You have to do it yourself, right? One way or another, you have to do that detecting. You have to do that threat detection yourself. Do not expect that you deploy a security data lake and then everything is solved, right? That's not what it's all about, right? It's about centralizing your data in a common schema to make it easier to query. If you do that, what you've done is you've given yourself kind of data independence. That's the way I view it. And you can choose any way that you want to work with that data. But that's the big thing, Neal. It really is the big thing.